New movie by the Coen brothers, which premiered at Cannes, adapted from a Cormac McCarthy novel, which is one of those rare things, a recent novel that I have read. And I have to say, if you've read the novel, the film is incredibly close to it, right down to the kind of nihilistic, very strange, open ending. Several nominations for this. So the BAFTAs, I think, got 9 nominations, including, as you probably know, Best Director, Best Film, and famously Best Editor, Roderick Jaynes, who, as we all know, is a nom de plume for the... actually, not nom de plume. What is it if it's just a name that you make up but you don't write it down? Anyway, it's the
pseudonym.
Pseudonym, thank you. Yeah, why didn't I remember that word? Pseudonym for the Coens themselves.
Not so much for your doctorate against mine, is it?
Thank you, but it's a doctorate in English rather than in French, Simon. Thank you very much. So, in 80s
I'm a
Texas...
doctor of letters, I'll have you know.
A doctor of lettuce?
Yes, that'll do.
That's going to be great. Okay, in 80s Texas, Josh Brolin stumbles across the aftermath of a botched drug deal, something which has gone hideously wrong. He takes the money, then he is struck by an attack of conscience which takes him back to the crime scene and puts the bad guys on his tail. Meanwhile, Tommy Lee Jones, representing the old guard, the old world, is a sheriff who is coming to the end of his career, is faced with an apparently new form of evil in the scary haircutted form of Javier Bardem. Here's a clip, and bear in mind, Javier Bardem speaks very quietly in this clip. This is him threatening a garage owner.
How much?
69 cents.
And the gas?
Y'all getting any rain up your way?
What way would that be?
I seen you was from Dallas.
What business is it of yours? Where I'm from? Friendo?
I didn't mean nothing by it.
Didn't mean nothing.
Just passing the time. If you don't want to accept that, I don't know what else I can do for you. Will there be something else?
I don't know. Will there?
Is something wrong?
With what?
With anything.
Is that what you're asking me? Is there something wrong with anything?
Will there be anything else?
You already asked me that.
Oh, well, I need to see about closing now.
See about closing?
Yes, sir.
What time do you close?
Now. We close now.
Now is not a time. What time do you close?
Generally around dark. At dark.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
Sir?
I said, you don't know what you're talking about. What time do you go to bed?
Sir?
You're a bit deaf, aren't you? I said, what time do you go to bed?
Oh, somewhere around 9:30. I'd say around 9:30.
I could come back then.
Why would you be coming back? We'll be closed.
Yeah, you said that.
And that is very much the tone of his character. This absolutely implacable, really scary, never raised his voice, and sporting this extraordinary haircut, which when the film first played at Cannes, I mean, there were gasps of breath the first time, because Javier Bardem's a very, very beautiful man, and he comes on with this really strange, it looks like the kind of haircut that John Paul Jones had in the sort of early, around Stairway to Heaven kind of period, only dark and really, really scary. Which
so he's normally a really beautiful man, because anyone who's seen any clips from this will just be thinking, you don't want to go anywhere near him.
No, it is the face
from the haircut.
The face of evil. Now, here's the brilliant thing about the movie. Several things. Firstly, it sees the Coen brothers going right back to the form of Blood Simple. It's stripped down in the way that Blood Simple is. I did an on-stage interview with them, and I said, look, it's very much like Blood Simple, isn't it? And they said, what are you saying, that we're repeating ourselves? They said it sort of ironically, but also slightly hurt. Then, no, Blood Simple is an absolutely beautifully formed movie. I think this is the best thing they've done since Fargo, but it does have that same kind of stripped-down sense. You have a terrific central performance surrounded by a brace of very, very good supporting performances. Tommy Lee Jones is really good as the old-school sheriff who thinks that the world is falling apart around him. And one of the sort of key philosophical themes of the novel and of the film is the world has changed. We are now facing a new form of evil that we never had before. Now, there's a number of mitigating factors against this. First one is, of course, that the movie actually has a slightly period setting anyway. It's in the 80s. Second one is there's a central conversation in which Tommy Lee Jones talks to an older guy who says, describes this terrible crime that happened and then says, look, that happened way, way back, 30s and 40s. This stuff has always been around. But the Coens feel, and I know this because I asked them and they said yes, that they're at a certain point in their life, which we all get to after mid-40s, when you start to think the world is going to hell in a handcart, and I have kind of lost any sense of the world's moral compass. And the film does a brilliant job of dramatising that without ever seeming pompous or portentous, because at the heart of it, it's a very simple thriller. It's a thriller about somebody finding a bag of money and believing they can get away with the bag of money, but making one tiny mistake which sets a chain of events, on their trail, and that's it. They're never going to get away from it. Kelly MacDonald, I think, we've got a BAFTA nomination for Best Supporting Actress, which is fantastic because she does a brilliant, Southern drawl. Because of course, she's a Scottish actress. I think still best known for her performance in Trainspotting, but a real revelation here. And on the basis of this, I'd say she has American stardom waiting for her. Beautifully shot by Roger Deakins. An amazingly kind of empty soundscape. I mean, you really get that sense of wilderness, of, arid landscape, of there being some kind of lonely, desolate place out there that the film is taking you right into, like all the Coen brothers movies. Brilliant mix of horror and humour. There are moments when you don't know whether to laugh, cry, wince. You end up doing all three. And I've now seen it 3 times, and first time I saw it in Cannes, loved it. Second time, thought it was even better, and third time round, I thought it was a lot funnier than I thought it was the first 2 times round. It's, I think, a really, really fine piece of work. Clearly a contender for Best Film nomination at the Oscars on Tuesday, which I believe we are doing live on what is now known as News 25 Live.
Loads of people on No Country for Old Men. Let's just whiz
all
through
good, I hope.
Somewhat. Let's have a look.
Go ahead.
Jim says, Simon and Mark, saw No Country for Old Men last Saturday, thought it very impressive. However, not as many are saying the Coen's best. I would like to still think that Blood Simple, Miller's Crossing, The Big Lebowski are superior efforts. I did think the ending was a little too unconventional for its own sake.
It is the ending of the novel. It's one of those things that is how the novel ends.
Still, the performances were brilliant and the tension consistent, certainly worth going to see. Dear Abominable Dr. Kermode, No Country for Old Men is possibly the Coen brothers' finest. And are you pronouncing the J or not in Javier?
Javier.
Javier Bardem, so chilling that you forget he looks like a monkey gone rogue. He looks like Peter Tork from the Monkees.
He does, yes, he does.
Without giving anything away, can the good doctor comment about the controversial ending with some I just found confusing. So it's the ending of the book, so it's true to the book. Will people who haven't read the book go, eh?
Well, I think that in the end, here's the way of understanding the ending. The point about both the book and the film is it's not plot driven, okay? It's not to do with solving the crime. I mean, actually, in the end of it, pretty much everything is laid to rest except for the fact that the evil continues. And then what happens is there's a description of a dream. And actually, I think, and by third time round, I think it's the perfect ending. But first time round, it did catch people off guard. I mean, people at Cannes definitely went, what, eh?
Simon, on this is the ultimate in Emperor's New Clothes filmmaking. Just because it's slow, nothing...
Not slow! How can it be slow? It starts with a bloodbath. How slow is that?
Nothing happens, and it can't think of an ending. Does not make it deep or impressive. Boring as hell, not as clever as it thinks it is. Give me those 2 hours back. Steve, our friend in Prague, is back on.
Hello, Steve.
Looking forward to hearing what Dr. Kermode has to say, hoping he agrees with my admittedly minority view that No Country for Old Men is a fair way short of a masterpiece.
That's not.
Great acting and cinematography let down by weak characterization and a fairly daft story. The main characters are little more than ciphers for the often irritating and silly philosophizing. Free Will versus Determinism from Javier. Things Ain't What They Used to Be from Tommy. Consequently, while the film mostly held my attention, I was never gripped, didn't really care if the characters lived, died, had a happy or sad ending. Good but not great, not even the Coen's best film. I'm sure a man of the Doctor's intelligence and perception will find little to fault with these arguments.
No, I love the film, but actually that's a very smart summation of the film's philosophy, that Free Will versus Determinism from him and Things Ain't What They Used to Be from her.
Tommy Lee
very
Jones.
Good.
And if you do go to see the movie and think it's a bit grim or it's a bit scary or you're a bit tense, just think of Javier as Peter Tork from the Monkees.
And suddenly it'll all go away.
Be fine. More of this to come. It's 3:30.